Seems like kind of a simple question, but ironically, every time I ask this question of people, I get really weird answers. Some people are smart enough to go, this seems like a trick question, and they know it. So they kind of try to be creative. But if you want to reach financial freedom and you want to make work optional, seems like kind of a simple question. Knowing who is using your money, your income, your sweat equity, the mental energy it takes that you put into your job to make the money, knowing where the money's being used is really important. And most people haven't even thought this through. Some people understand that there are different people who benefit from your income. And when you ask the average person who is using your income, some people will say, my kids, because they spend it all. Some people will say, my spouse. But I'm going to talk about several people who are using your income that are, for the most part, in the way of you reaching financial freedom. And this is going to be a nice short live stream, probably 10, 15 minutes. I'm not going to answer any questions. If you want questions answered on how to reach financial freedom, how to make work optional in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from the best position, Tuesday afternoons, 4 p.m. Pacific, I do live streams that last a couple of hours where I answer all of the questions. But in this video, I specifically want to talk about who's using your income, your time. The first person that most of us are aware of is the largest expense that most of us have. They actually get paid before you do. I think the second person does too. But the first person, the one that most people understand, is benefiting from you working. Like the reason they want there to be a job market is so that they can benefit, is the government. Taxes. Especially of the three ways to make income, you have earned income, portfolio income, and passive income. Even though it's not always passive, it's categorized that way by the IRS. But the first way of getting paid is that earned income. So all three of these have taxes. And yes, with passive income, there's ways to delay taxes, to postpone taxes, to maybe even have taxes happen after you die. But on earned income, it's the highest form of taxed income. And the government gets it before you do. So we want a strong job market so that people are generating money so that the government can tax it. An example of this, there are things that we need. We need a social system to catch people when things happen in their life where they can't survive without food benefits, housing assistance, things that happen, and hopefully short term, so they can get back on their feet. But we need first responders, we need roads, we need a military to protect us. We need all of these things that the taxes actually go to. So the first person who's using your income is the government. Not that that's a bad thing, just not everybody's aware of it. The second thing, and this is the one that actually kind of irritates some people, like it's how the system works, but this bothers people. The second person who's actually using your income more effectively than you are is the company you work for. If your company has you do a job and you generate $100 worth of value to that company, you perform a task that the company gets to bill $100 for, they'll probably pay you $25 an hour. Doesn't sound fair when you just hear those two numbers, but when you start thinking of the startup capital it put the business in place, the money it takes to run an HR department, an IT department, sometimes parts of a company that don't generate revenue, they have to pay employer's portion of taxes on you. So again, the government weaseled their way into the second person who's benefiting from you. And they have to pay unemployment insurance. They have to pay insurance on the property. They have to pay for the property. They have to pay for the materials. All of the expenses that goes into making that $100 generate the $5 to $25 that goes to you. That is then taxed by that first person who benefits from your income. So that's two people right now who benefit from your income before you do. The third person who benefits from your income, and most people will actually give this answer. They'll say, I benefit from my income because I make the money and I spend the money. So I get to get the things that I spend the money on. But the people benefiting from you spending the money are the people who made the things that you're spending the money on. If you are buying a car, someone sold the car. You have car insurance, you have car registration, another form of government making money off of your income. You have people who say, well, I'm going to buy a house. I have to live somewhere. Right. So if you buy a house, you probably have a mortgage, which means you're paying not because of the mortgage, but because you're buying the property. You're paying property taxes. So this is the third person is when you spend money. You pay for your mortgage, which means you have some principal pay down. Cool. But you have interest, which means the bank is making money off of you, or the lender is making money off of you. You have property taxes. Again, the government has into this third person who's taking money from you. When you buy things, you're paying taxes on it. So your money was taxed when you earned it. Your employer is making more money than you do. In other words, they're not going to stay in business long. That's how the system works. Third, you're going to buy things that you pay taxes on. You pay property taxes on. You pay interest on if it's an asset like a real estate, actual house, which is real estate. All of these forms of people benefiting from your work. You worked to make the money to buy the house. You put the down payment in, you make the monthly payment, and all these people are benefiting from you continuing to work to make the mortgage payment, to pay the interest. And then some people say, well, I just don't want all those people benefiting from me. I'm going to rent, which means you're paying someone else's mortgage. And all of those people are still benefiting. And now you're adding the profit that the landlord is going to get into there. So that margin increases, more people benefiting from the money that you are earning. Who is using your income? The government gets taxes. Your employer makes more money than you do, or they won't stay in business very long. When you spend money, the people you spend the money, the companies you spend the money with are benefiting from the work that you put in to make the money. So then some people will say, well, if the government's going to get the money and the employer's making the money and I spend money, all these people make money, so I'm just not going to spend it. I'm going to save it. I want to put money in the bank. I'm going to use my money. I'm going to put it in the bank and I'm going to get paid for the last couple of years, 0.02% interest. Now you might be able to get 1.5%, because as the Federal Reserve raised their lending to 3-4%, so that mortgages are 8%, 7%, 6%, depending on what kind of investor you are or home buyer you are, you're going to make money from the bank. But why is the bank going to pay you? Why does the bank give you 0.02% or now 1%, one actual percent? A whole percent of your money sitting in the bank might come to you, which you're then going to pay taxes on because it's earned income, or it's portfolio income. Actually, not sure. Interest on a bank. The money that's in a bank comes to you. You're going to pay taxes on that. But the bank is going to use your income. They're going to take your money and they're going to lend it out. It's actually the business that they're in. They're not in the holding money business. They're in the putting the money to work business. They take the money from the Fed at the Fed rate. They take the money from the people who deposit the money in the bank, which is actually puts it on the bank's expense column, because they have to pay interest out to the people who put the money in there. Then they invest it. They lend it out. Credit cards are getting 15, 18% on their money that you're putting in the bank for 1%. Mortgages are 8, 7, 6%, depending on what kind of investor or home buyer you are. So the bank is making a lot more money than you are, because they are using your income. If you make it, the government taxes it. If you produce something, the employer makes more than you do. If you spend the money, the companies make money off of your income. If you save the money, the bank makes more money off of the income. So if you live in a house, renting or mortgage, you are paying a bank at some point who is profiting from the interest. You are saving money that you worked for to put in the bank to save it, so the bank can make interest money on it, probably on the mortgage that you're borrowing. So all of these people are using your income. Are you? And then other people will say, so saving it doesn't seem to be the way to go, especially if inflation is higher than the savings rate. You're actually losing value every year. People are aware of that. Thank you, YouTube University, for making that a household staple. Then people will say, well, I'm going to invest in a retirement account. I'm actually going to stop working someday and I'm going to have a retirement account. Okay, here's who's using your money when you have a retirement account. First, the government. Yes, you can delay taxes. If you have a 401k, you might delay taxes until you're 59 and a half. Are you really hoping to retire in a lower tax bracket? You think taxes are going to be lower in the future? This is a long play on the government on making more money in the future. Smart. Second, this is the one most people haven't thought of. Here's who's using your money in a retirement account. Your boss. Actually, Google, what is a retention program? These are things we do to keep people working longer. Provide a lunchroom, provide daycare, provide a retirement account. They'll actually take some of the income they could have just paid people, call it a match, put it into a retirement account to make you feel like longevity with that company is the way to go. So your employer is using your income in a retirement account to keep you working there longer. Yay. Then people manage your retirement account. And I don't mean the people who self-direct, because it's still being managed by a firm. People who invest the money that you put into the retirement account. They might only get 1% or 1.5% or whatever the small, it sounds small, amount of the retirement account is. But if you have $100,000 in your retirement account and it's being managed by your company's retirement services, that's $1,000 a year or $1,500 a year. Let's just go with 1%. They're making $1,000 a year. If you make money or not, if your retirement portfolio goes up 10%, you make $10,000 on that $100,000 that's in there. So now instead of $1,000, the retirement account company gets $1,100. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but here's where it really sucks. Let's say your $100,000 loses 10%. Now you have $90,000. You lost $10,000. The company managing the retirement account gets paid $900. 1% of what's in there, whether the amount went up or down. So the people using your income in a retirement account is your company to keep you working there. And second, the company that's managing the retirement account. So let's go to where, someday I'm actually going to make a video where I just talk about all the problems and I don't give the solution. But not today. We talk about investing. But again, this isn't the solution. It's not like everyone else is going to stop using your money. If you buy stocks, the people you bought the stocks from are profiting from whatever they gained when they first acquired it. The company is, if they're selling stocks, is getting stocks to grow their company. When you make money on stocks and you sell them, you have capital gains. If you get dividend stocks, you have taxes on the income. The government somehow got into like every single list that we're talking about here. But stocks benefit the companies that you invest in. They invest the funds that manage the portfolio that you are investing in, especially if you go into what everybody always talks about, a well-diversified stock portfolio, somebody's managing that. If you invest in real estate, the bank is still going to get interest. The title companies are still going to benefit and profit from the services they provide. The agents are going to get their commission. The lenders are going to get, everybody gets their vig. Their part of this little pie goes to everybody. So here is the 4 words that will solve this for you. You're not going to be able to be the only person using your income. It's not possible. But you can. I want you to do this. I want you to write these 4 words down. Take these 4 words to heart tonight. When you go to bed, I want you to think of these 4 words. This is what I want you to do tomorrow, if you're not doing it already. I want you to get on the list. There is a list of people benefiting from your income, whether it is money that you make selling your life 1 hour at a time or money you make from investments. The government is going to get their taxes. Companies are going to get their profit. Banks are going to get their interest. Everybody's going to benefit from the work that you do. Get on the list. 4 words. Think about that. Get on the list. I also want to benefit from my income. I want to use my income. And not just to spend to buy things. When I take my income and I buy things like an asset that produces cash flow, and that money that I'm not working for is income that I created. I used my income to create this income. Now I can buy the things that I'm not going to benefit from financially. Have an asset pay for your liabilities. Again, this was a nice short live stream where I wanted to talk to you about who is using your income. And I will go through the comments after I close the video down. And if there are any questions there, I will try to get to them on my live streams, which are Tuesday afternoons, 4 p.m. Pacific. I hope this video at least made you think, because you are going to be alive in 5 years. Get on the list of people who've benefited from the work that you do between now and then. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.